So for those of you that don't know, I'm Maverick. I've been with How to Grow now for a few months, and we have been working on getting certified through Bluelab with their training and some of the tests that they have available to be 100% knowledgeable on all these products and be able to give you the best customer service that's available for these awesome meters and solutions. So one of the first things that we'll jump into is the pH pen and the conductivity pen. Those are the two most popular. They're right here. This is what they look like in the box when you purchase them. They all come with everything you need to get started right out the box right away. So you'll notice that the pH pen is going to come with the buffering packets that are necessary to calibrate it. They're right there on the side. I'll show you those. So you're going to have 7, 4, and a packet of potassium chloride solution to submerge your pen in for the first 24 hours before you calibrate it. Most of ours that we have here, we've already done that for, so we've done that for you already. Kind of cool. The conductivity pen right there is going to come pretty much just the pen. This one doesn't actually need a buffering packet as it's for ppm EC. And then we also have the Truncheon commercial ppm sticks. Great for large reservoirs. The cool thing about Bluelab products is that all of these are going to be waterproof. So these are all submersible. Even these pens right here are as well. You just drop this down in your reservoir. You read it based upon the ppm table that you should be reading off of, whether it's 5 or 700, and it does all the math for you. Very simple, very easy, very effective.
Before we get too much into the products, I guess we should probably start with what is Bluelab. And Bluelab is a New Zealand-based company, and what they specialize in is horticulture metering products. And by metering, we're talking about your water pH and your parts per million. They have a variety of products. There's also a pH content in your soils that is very important to plant health. And so we'll talk a little bit more about the importance of pH and parts per million, but Bluelab as a whole, I mean, these are professional grade, top of the line, excellent warranty, high quality horticulture products that you can trust to make sure that your garden stays healthy all the way from seed to harvest. And so, yeah, some of the importance of pH, like I was mentioning, it's going to be a determinant factor in your soils and in your waters for a hydroponic system. pH is the acidity of the water, and so it ranges on a scale from 1 to 14, and with 7 is neutral. And so higher on the scale is alkaline, lower on the scale is more acidic. And plants thrive in specific pH ranges. Certain plants are going to want a pH range that's different than another plant, and maintaining those plants' environments in that proper pH range is going to allow them to grow to their best perfection. So,
and just to kind of piggyback off that, so what he's saying is that pH range is going to be what's allowing that plant to uptake nutrients. So if you're not within those ranges that Brad's talking about, your plants are not going to uptake nutrients properly. You're going to have deficiencies, and then you're going to have just a trickle-down effect of problems thereafter. So monitoring that and understanding your specific cultivar's pH range is essential to plant health overall. So yeah, and then with that, so hydro versus soil when it comes to pH monitoring is a little bit different. As in hydro systems, that is something that is extremely essential to do at all times. Really. Every single day.
Every day.
Needs to be monitored. You should have a data log if you don't already, writing down your temperatures, your pHs, your ppms, just to monitor and see where you're at. It helps to catch trends early on. You know, if you notice that you're having a pH rise frequently, we've dealt with issues like that before. So, yeah, you can't have that happen, because knowing that you have to have your plants within that certain range of pH, you're going to do everything you can to mitigate that, right, and keep it within those parameters. So, but with that, the difference there is going to be that soil. If you're in an organic living soil, most of the time we allow the biology to do the work for you. So it's essential to have pH water, but to an extent. So it's good to know what your water's at, and most people really don't. You know, I think that's part of the thing, is that a lot of people really don't even know what's in their water, what their pH is like, you know. So knowing all those things are very important, and once you get that dialed in, it's not as necessary, but super necessary for your media itself. So you need to know whether or not the inside of your media is acidic. And so to do that, we have a multimedia meter here, as well as a combo meter plus, which it has the little green here on the top. Those are going to indicate that those are the soil meters, if I'm not mistaken. So those ones are meant specifically to go right into the media. This one can actually go right into soil, rock wool, and right into the reservoir as well.
Yeah, soil, rock wool, perlite, cocoa. You can dip it straight into your liquid reservoir.
Right.
It's going to read the pH out of any media that you stick that probe into, and so that's super handy. Another really common way to measure pH in a soil type environment is to try to check the runoff of a pot. And so you would water it to excess and then collect what drains out of the pot and then check that pH, which you could do with like a simple pH pen here. Not the most accurate solution, but something that's really commonly used amongst residential horticulturalists.
Which is kind of why this came about, actually, because that's a later product that they had developed, and that actually helps you figure out what's the pH in the actual media, rather than what we just rinsed through the leftovers of the new feed.
Yeah,
right?
and
So,
I mean, you could be carrying a lot of that pH straight out of the tap, right through the pot, and then you're reading your tap pH.
right.
And so, yeah, different options for soil meters. They do have a soil pen. I mean, these meters are extremely handy. I mean, if you're running a soil environment, if you have a large garden, I mean, this is something that can save you tons of headache, tons of time, and dramatically increase your harvest.
Even as a beginner, right? So like when I first started growing, I didn't even check my pH at first, right? It just wasn't a thought. I hadn't gotten to that part of my education. But once I realized that was essential, I bought a pH meter, right? But it wasn't a Bluelab pH meter. It was just a pH meter.
Right.
And it was fairly affordable, so I was like, okay, you know, we'll do this. And then you have to have these little like granular buffering packets that you have to mix in 250 milliliters of water and make sure it's completely dissolved, and you know the volume has to be accurate, otherwise it's not going to read appropriately to calibrate it, right? And so I struggled with the calibration of all these pens, and then I'd get them dialed in, but then they wouldn't last long. I'd have them for like a month maybe, or a couple weeks, and then I'd have to go get another one, so
Yep.
And then I found Bluelab, and I'm like, man, I don't know what I've been doing this whole time. I should have just done this from the beginning. I would have saved myself a lot of money, and I would have had a better or happier plants,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
I mean, I've always practiced hydroponics, and so a pH pen and a conductivity pen have been a staple in my garden forever. And I mean, I take them places with me, check customers' waters. I mean, I check my parents' water. There's a lot of information you can get just out of those two pens, and it can really make a huge difference in the overall health of your environment. And so, your most common instruments that we recommend to anybody first starting out is going to be this pH pen and conductivity pen that that Maverick was showing you here earlier, they're handheld, they're waterproof, they're extremely simple. They come with a 12-month warranty. You literally turn the button on and you dip it into the solution. And so,
Yeah, super simple.
yeah, we'll do a demonstration here with you. We've got our cleaning station, and so we're going to do a calibration and a demonstration on this pH and conductivity pen here, just to kind of give you guys a walkthrough and show you exactly just how simple these products really are to operate. And so,
Yeah.
and a couple other cool things that Bluelab has, and so, you know, these items over here are stuff that you're going to keep with you in your hand, and you can use at multiple locations, multiple reservoirs, multiple pots, however you want to use it. Same thing with the combo meter. The combo meter is great because it has your pH and your parts per million in one. And so the Combo Meter Plus comes with the soil probe, and then you have the standard Combo Meter that just has the water pH probe. But then you have the Bluelab Guardian here, and so the Guardian is actually a fixed unit, and this is going to be something more for a higher level commercial operation, or just a larger hobby garden, to where you want to monitor your water flow all the time. And so you can fix these units in a sample pot, you can set it straight into your reservoir. There's a lot of different options to hook it up, but then this unit is going to be taking a reading of that water every 10 seconds and data logging all that information, your parts per million and your pH. And then the cool thing is we don't have them here on the table, but Bluelab's products go way higher up, to where you can get a pH controller that will actually take the readings off your Bluelab Guardian monitor and dose your water for you to automatically adjust the pH. And then you can even do the same thing with nutrients. They've got their peripod systems, which are infinitely expandable. You can do anywhere from 3 to up to 50 different nutrient products, liquid products, and it'll auto dose those products at a schedule that you can create with inside the software that you download when you start using these products. And so that's kind of the great thing about it, is that this is something that's essential for even a small hobby residential home grower that will dramatically increase your operation, and or all the way up to the largest scale agricultural facilities. These products are gonna be a lifesaver in your growth.
So if data is important to you, which it is to us, you're looking for the Connect. So the Connect is going to have the orange stripe. All of the models that they have that have data accessibility are going to have this orange stripe on it. So if that matters to you, check out their Connect models. They're fantastic.
So what do we got next on the list here?
So we also have the care kits too. So if you're wondering, like, okay, so I'm going to get a pH meter, and then I need to have all these things. Well, yeah, you have to have a few things. So
I think that's important because with any one of these products, maintenance is going to be crucial to make sure that they're calibrated and operating properly. And so this care kit that Maverick is showing you here is essentially everything you see in this cleaning display packed into a nice little box that you can take home and use yourself.
They give you 3 individual plastic containers here to put your solutions in, and then you get a whole bunch of buffering packets here. But the difference between these buffering packets and other companies' buffering packets is this is already a liquid solution. There's nothing that you need to do to mix it up, to do anything. You just rip the packet open. You can either dip the pen right in it and set it up, or you can pour it into the little cups and then just dip it and go. I mean, it's very, very simple. I mean, they're so simple that on the back of every pen has the instructions to do everything that you're going to need to do with it. So, awesome solutions, awesome meters. I mean, really can't say enough about Bluelab products. They're great. They really are. So, and then in this little care kit here, you're going to see it's going to give you a little scrubber, and that's to take care of your conductivity pen, because there's little contactors on the bottom, and you're going to want to clean those off, and we'll show you that here in just a minute. And it's going to come with a toothbrush, and that cleans off the bulb on the pH pen. or even the little thermostat, the little thermometer that's on the end of it. And then they give you some cleaner there. And then here is conductivity probe cleaner, which is what you'll use with that. So they give you everything you need to get going. And like I said, it's very simple, kind of just cut and dry.
Yeah, absolutely. It is super simple, and actually, we'll just let's just get it going, and we'll calibrate them and kind of focus on just the pH and the conductivity pens that we have here, as they are our most commonly sold products, and I think they're essential for every grow.
So Bradley's going to grab the solutions, and the solutions we have are going to be right here. So we have a 7 right here, a 4, and then we have to calibrate your conductivity pen, an EC of 2.77. So all those solutions are available in multiple sizes. It makes it easy for anyone who needs to get the solutions to have some. Like I said, it's already a liquid solution, so you don't have to mix nothing, so that's great. The cool thing about Bluelab is that you really don't have to use very much, and how fast they calibrate. Like, it's extremely quick, so don't blink, because it's going to go by fast.
Well, here, let's show them the probes on the pens. I'm going to bring it up close to the camera. Sure. And so we'll start with the pH pen. And so the first thing you see when you look at your pH pen is you're going to see the little digital screen here. You've got your temperature readout that you can put into Celsius or Fahrenheit, and then your pH reading right there. In the bottom right corner, there's the little pH calibration check mark. When your pen is calibrated, that check mark will stay illuminated, and then when it's time to recalibrate, it will let you know by removing the check. And so that's super convenient too. On the bottom of the pen here, you're going to have your temperature probe, and then you have your pH conductivity, or your pH bulb. And so the bulb is really the important part. You want to keep this all clean, and that's kind of where the toothbrush comes in the care kit. You take a little bit of the soap, you put it into the toothbrush, and then you simply just kind of scrub the cleaners around, and it'll dissolve any collected mineral salts or anything like that that's on your probe, and then you just rinse it off, and you're good and clean. Another important thing to know about these pH meters is these caps. And so if you can see inside that cap, there's a little silicone ring and a foam sponge in there, and that's actually to house that bulb when you have the cap on. You always want to keep the cap on this pen when it's not in use, and then you always want to keep that little sponge wet. These bulbs are they operate off the ionization that's in the liquid inside the bulb. So if the bulb ever cracks and it loses the liquid, the pen is no longer going to be viable. But there's an ionization charge in that reads the pH, and so you have to keep that ionization charge in the liquid as well. It can seep out through the glass, and that's where the sponge and the cap come from. You want to keep that sponge and cap, keep this bulb wet, and then the KCl solution that is recommended with this pen, that's what it is. It's an ionization solution that recharges the ions within the bulb of the pen to make sure that it stays good for a very long time. It comes with a 12-month warranty, but I've personally used these pens for over 5 years without issue. So we're going to walk through the calibration process real quick, which is super simple and quick. I'll have Maverick do that, but you know, what we just discussed, I mean, those are the key factors and the really important part to maintaining a quality working pH pen.
So, and I love this, by the way, the cap sits right on top. So the first solution you want to have ready is your 7, and I usually just get both of my solutions ready to go, and then we actually need a rinse.
Oh yeah, let me go get that.
So we'll wait just a second here. So calibration usually lasts about 30 days, but it also depends on how much you use your instrument. So if you use your meter heavily, it might need calibrated a little more often. And actually, you know, one could say the opposite too, though. If you don't use it enough and you're not paying attention to your cap and whether or not you're keeping enough potassium chloride in that little sponge in there, it could dry out, and you could need to calibrate it every single time you use it. So be wary of that. Just a little control rinse water. That's just to rinse the probe off in between calibrations. So put the cap on the top, and then we are going to put it in the solution. Hold the calibration button for about 3 seconds. It'll say cal. It's gonna think. And then 4 zeros are gonna run across the top of the screen, but on the bottom it should be indicating that it's reading 7. And it should automatically do that. So if it says something else, shut it off and restart it, and make sure that it's on the proper one. And if it's not, there might be an issue with your meter. Bring it into us and we'll let you know. So now we're going to rinse it off. That one already did it. Did all 4 zeros. We got the calibration at the end. It was successful. So you just got to rinse it off a little bit, and then we are going to hold the calibration button once again inside the solution. It will say cal, and then the 4 zeros after it reads that it's solution number 4, so it is. So now we're halfway done already.
Well, that's pretty much it. When you're calibrating a pH pen, you always want to calibrate multiple ranges in the pH scale, and this just guarantees that your pen is calibrated throughout the full range. So if you calibrate it just to 7, and you're not calibrated to 4, when you're reading a water that say is 5, it could be 5.3, 5.2, because the reading could be off across the scale and just balanced at that one point in the middle at 7. So
if you want plus or minus 1,
and so
to dial it in.
Right, and that's going to be true for any pH pen, not even a Bluelab product.
Right, yep, correct.
The typical calibrations are 4, 7, and 10. Bluelab used to carry a 10 product as well, but they found that the 7 and 4 just work so much better. It reduces the step, that they've actually eliminated the 10.0. And so
I just wanted to let everybody know that it did work. We do have our check mark back there. We're good to go, and that was very painless, very quick, and
yeah,
the garden's not suffering. So
right, and that's the pH pen. And so now we'll move on to the EC pen. This is another staple. The important part about EC, so we didn't really talk about this earlier. EC is the total amount of dissolved nutrient in your water level. And so it can be the microminerals that come right out of the tap, or any liquid or dry nutrient solution that you dissolve into your reservoir or your irrigation system for your garden. And this is going to tell you if you have too high, too low, or too high or too low nutrient solution. And so this is really important when it comes to a lot of recirculating hydroponics. Recirculating hydroponic systems, they tend to just top off the reservoir, and in order to do an accurate top off, you have to know your parts per million when you started, your parts per million before you added water, and then your final parts per million goal that you're trying to reach. And so that is going to be something that is determined based on the scale. A lot of nutrient companies will provide a scale for the parts per million. There's 3 scales, and so the best way to see these 3 scales is really on the trenching pen, because it reads all 3 of them for you simultaneously. The conductivity pen will read all 3 of them as well, but only one at a time. And so if we look at these kind of close, we'll bring them up here. You've got CF, which is an old reading. It's more or less from the UK. In the United States, it's more EC, which is really common, and then you have your ppm 500, which is your total dissolved solids.
And EC means electroconductivity.
Yep, and then you've got your ppm 700, which is your EC times 700, and that's essentially what your 500 is too. As you can see, the pen just initiated that it is powered on and it's working, but when you dip this pen into the water, you're going to read, it's just going to light up one of these bulbs. And so say it lights up this bulb right here, it's going to tell me that I have a 3.6 EC or an 1800 500 scale parts per million, or 2520 700 scale parts per million. And so whatever scale your nutrients based off of, this pen's going to show you, and then this one's going to do the same thing too. You've got this unit button down here, and if you hold this unit button down, it's going to start flashing. And so right there in the center, it's on a 500 parts per million scale, which is what we like to use here at the store. If you don't click it for 3 seconds, it's going to go back like it just did. But you hold it for 3 seconds, and then you can go ahead and continue to click the units button. And so now we're at Fahrenheit, Celsius, parts per million 700, Fahrenheit, Celsius, EC, Fahrenheit, Celsius, or parts per million 500, which is where we like it. So we're just going to go ahead and hit the hold button, and now we're set at a 500 EC parts per million. And so when you look at the bottom of this pen, when it comes to maintenance and cleaning, and then same thing with the Trenchian, you can see there is your 2 conductivity probes here. And so those conductivity probes are what's actually reading the EC or TDS of the water. And then you have your temperature probe, which is going to be that silver knob there. And so when it comes to cleaning these units, you can actually remove the cap on the Trenchian pen, and then same thing with the Bluelab pen. There's a cap on it. Whenever you're operating these pens, you always want to keep the cap on them, but for cleaning purposes, they're removable. And then you've got your brush and your cleaning solution. So your cleaning solution is a mild abrasive, and basically you're polishing any mineral content that has collected on these electrodes. They do put out a very light electric current, and that electric current will cause nutrients to coagulate on top of the electrodes, which will give you inaccurate readings. And so that's exactly what this is. You've got a little buffer scrubber here, and then this is a mild abrasion solution to go ahead and buff these clean and make sure that they don't have any sort of buildup that's going to be giving you an ineffective reading. And that's really as simple as the maintenance goes. These units are very sturdy. They're calibrated right out of the box directly from the factory. They actually recommend that we don't calibrate them before the customer takes them. And I mean, it's pretty maintenance free. You clean the ends on them every month, and this pen is going to last you a very long time. I've personally used and had one of these pens for over 6 years. And so pop the cap back on that. We will show you the calibration solution. There is no calibration for the Trenchian pen. These are a commercial grade product. They come with a 5-year warranty, and they just simply don't need it. They're built like a brick shit house, and they're going to keep working well for you for a long time. But I'll let Maverick take over, and we can walk through the calibration on the pen.
So, once again, it's always super simple with these. We're looking at a 2.77 EC standard conductivity to calibrate. So we're going to stick it right in there. We're going to hold the calibration button down for about 3 seconds. Should say calibrate. Yep, there it goes. Okay, so for EC for this, we are looking at 1385 ppm on a 500 scale, or 1940 ppm on a 700 scale.
Sorry, bumping things.
It's going down, so this one will take a second. So, but it's getting there. So we'll let that go. While we're letting that go, though, we can talk about the carrying case. I haven't actually looked at one of these yet.
I believe that carrying case is specifically for any of the combo meters or the multimedia pen. And it's just a handy little padded unit that's going to house your probes and your meter all in one nice convenient place. You can keep the instructions in there, maybe some sample sachets for cleaning. There's a shoulder carrying case if you're going to be, traveling, across the field with it. Pretty handy. And so one of the cool things that we wanted to do is that anybody that buys a combo meter plus or a multimeter in the next 3 days, we're going to send you a free carrying case to go with that product. And so
Woo!
that's kind of a sweet deal. I know it'll just kind of wrap up the package for you and then make sure that that meter stays protected and safe.
Yeah, I want this. I might buy one.
Did we calibrate our pen?
I believe we did. Let's check it.
Did I take that? I feel like
no.
oh, no, we're good.
It's still going.
It's still calibrating?
Yep. Or no, maybe it's done.
I think it's done. It's just reading. And so when it's calibrating on the parts per million side, there's a range of error, which is I think plus or minus 50 parts per million. Showed an error.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe that's it. Take that off. No, that should stay on it when you calibrate.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs clean. I wouldn't fuck with it right now. There you go. What's the parts per million read in the water?
It was like 14.
In that?
Or no, in that.
Gotta put the lid back on it. Too funny. Yeah, it's reading properly. You're reading properly.
What's up? Oh, there we go. No, we're good.
I think it's just been calibrated too many times, but there we go.
No, it's good.
Yep.
We got the check mark. It's there. But yeah, usually super simple. You push the button for 3 seconds, put it in your solution, and you're good to go. I mean, really.
And so, yeah, pens are definitely most common. I'd say recommended for any garden, any grower. They just will make a big difference for you as far as your overall just success. I mean, knowing what your pH ranges are so that your plants are getting the proper uptake of nutrients is vital. A great example is an eggplant. An eggplant likes a really alkaline environment. I mean, it's comfortable at a 0.8. And then you have something like a blueberry bush wants a 0.55. I mean, this is a huge pH range, and so that's kind of where you get into your companion planting, and there's certain products that can lower your pH in your soils or increase your pH. You can do it through your watering and how you treat your water before you water your plants. But it's really essential to creating an overall health and
So then when I build a hydro system, can I put any plants I want in there?
No, you can't. You need to make sure that the plants you put in that table are going to be in the same pH range. For example, a nutrient film technique. You can put 1,000 plants or more in a nutrient film technique. I know there's commercial operations that probably have 10, 20,000 plants in one hydroponic system. But the key to that success is making sure that all the plants growing in the hydroponic system are going to be uptaking their nutrients at the right pH range, and that they're all in that same symbiotic pH range, so everything can grow effectively. You can't put a head of lettuce and a cauliflower in the same system. It's just not going to grow right.
Right. Right on.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think that's that really wraps it up for Bluelab. I mean, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to message us or throw them in the comments here after we publish this. And yeah, we'd be happy to help if you happen to have any further questions, or wonder about some more of the features of the Connect, because there's a lot of features when it comes to the Guardians and anything that has the Connect label on it, as far as data collection. So I know a lot of people are super interested in that.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're a large-scale operation, it's definitely a must-have. And then one of the great things about working with us when it comes to setting this equipment up is not only are we going to help walk you through the setup, with training directly from Bluelab themselves. For a larger scale operation, we can even get someone from Bluelab out here to help get, fertigation equipment set up, peripods, automated pH, and all kinds of stuff like that. And so, this is all part of us being a certified Bluelab dealer. We've been working directly with Bluelab. We passed through training courses, as Maverick expressed earlier, and we're an official certified Bluelab retailer. And so any product that you buy a Bluelab from us, we always have this cleaning station. We're going to be able to bring your equipment in here. We've actually got a tester for your combo meters and your probes. So we can test your meter, test your probe, figure out what the issue is.
If you question it, come get it tested.
Yep.
If you're wondering, just bring it by. Let's get it tested.
Yep. Because we're going to be able to get everything tested. If there's an issue and something's under warranty, we're going to swap it out for you right there on the spot, and then we're going to manage that manufacturer warranty. And so, as long as you still have the purchase records, which we maintain in our system, so as long as you got an account set up at our store or online, then you're
covered there.
Yeah, you're covered for your proof of purchase, and there's even ways that we can verify the validity of a warranty on a product just by looking at the serial number. So, we're really here to help support our customers and horticultural growers all across, South Dakota and the United States with these Bluelab products. As a certified retailer, we want to make sure that your equipment's working well for you, that it's reading accurately, and getting the job done so your business is running to its best potential.
As growers, we understand how important that is, and we put that first. So, that being said, we wanted to show products that we as growers also stand by.
Yeah,
so,
and have used for a long time. Like Matt said, you've had cheap pH pens.
Yeah.
I've had cheap pH pens. I've had cheap parts per million pens, and they just don't compare to the accuracy and the longevity that I've seen out of Bluelab products. And so,
right.
Since it's something that I have never been disappointed with personally, and as a horticulture store owner, that's why I'm just ecstatic to be a certified Bluelab retailer and help our customers get the service that comes with these products.
Right on, guys. Well, I think that about wraps it up for today. Feel free, like I said, message us, throw some comments in there. Have a great rest of your day. Have a good weekend, guys.
Yeah.